Come, Flipboat, it's time I left this place.
I can't keep up. You walk at such a pace.
Don't trouble, child. No need to show me out. It's not your manners I'm concerned about.
We merely pay you the respect we owe. But, mother, why this hurry? Must you go?
I must. This house appalls me. No one in it will pay attention, not for a single minute. Children, I take my leave much vexed in spirit. I offer good advice, but you won't hear it. You all break in and chatter and on and on. It's like a madhouse with the keeper gone.
If...
Girl, you talk too much, and I'm afraid you're far too saucy for a lady's maid. You push in everywhere and have your say.
But you can't talk to her.
You, boy, grow more foolish every day. To think my grandson should be such a dunce. I've said 100 times, if I've said it once, that if you keep the course on which you've started, you'll leave your worthy father broken-hearted.
Think.
And you, his sister, seem so pure, so shy, so innocent, so demure. But you know what they say about still waters. I pity parents with secretive daughters.
Now, mother.
And as far as you, child, let me add that your behavior is extremely bad and a poor example for these children, too. Their dear dead mother did far better than you. You're much too free with money, and I'm distressed to see you so elaborately dressed when it's one's husband that one aims to please. One has no need of costly fripperies.
Oh, madam, really?
You are her brother, sir, and I respect and love you. Yet, if I were my son, this lady's good and pious spouse, I wouldn't make you welcome in my house. You're full of worldly counsels, which I fear aren't suitable for decent folk to hear.
Your man Tartuffe is full of holy speeches.
And practices precisely what he preaches. He's a fine man and should be listened to. I will not hear him mocked by fools like you.
Good God, do you expect me to submit to the tyranny of that carping hypocrite? Must we forgo all joys and satisfactions because that bigot censors all our actions?
To hear him talk, and he talks all the time, there's nothing one can do. It's not a crime. He rails at everything, your dear Tartuffe.
Whatever he reproves deserves reproof. He's out to save your souls, and all of you must love him, as my son would have you do.
Ah, no, grandmother, I could never take to such a rascal, even for my father's sake. That's how I feel, and I shall not dissemble. His every action makes me seethe and tremble with helpless anger, and I have no doubt that he and I will shortly have it out.
Surely it is a shame and a disgrace to see this man usurp the master's place, to see this beggar who, when he first came, had not a shoe or shoestring to his name, so far forget himself that he behaves as if the house were his, and we his slaves.
Well, mark my words, your souls would fare far better if you obeyed his precepts to the letter.
Ah, you see him as a saint. I'm far less odd. In fact, I see right through him. He's a fraud.
Nonsense. You all regard him with distaste and fear because he tells you what you loathe to hear, condemns your sins, points out your moral flaws, and humbly strives to further heaven's cause.
If sin is all what bothers him, why is it he's so upset when folks drop in to visit? Is Evan so outraged by a social call that he must prophesy against us all? I'll tell you what I think, if you ask me. He's jealous of my mistress's company.
Rubbish! He's not a lone child and complaining of all your promiscuous entertaining. Why, the whole neighborhood's upset, I know, by all these carriages that come and go with crowds of guests parading in and out, with noisy servants loitering about. In all of this, I'm sure there's nothing vicious. But why give people reason to be suspicious?
They need no cause. They'll talk in any case. Madam, the world would be a joyless place if, fearing what malicious tongues might say, we locked our doors and turned our friends away. One can't fight slander. It's a losing battle. Let us instead ignore their tittle-tattle. Let's strive, live by conscience clear decrees, and let the gossips gossip as they please.
If there is talk against us, I know the source. It's Daphne and her little husband, of course. Those who have the greatest cause for guilt and shame are quickest to besmirch a neighbour's name. When there's a chance for libel, they never miss it. When something can be made to seem illicit, they're off at once to spread the joyous news, adding to fact whatever fantasies they choose. By talking up their neighbours' indiscretions, they seek to camouflage their own transgressions, hoping that others' innocent affairs will lend a hue of innocence to theirs, or that their own black guilt will come to seem part of a general shady colour scheme.
Oh, that is quite irrelevant. I doubt that anyone's more virtuous and devout than dear Aunt. And I'm informed that she condemns your mode of life most vehemently.
Oh, yes. She's strict, devout, and has no taint of worldliness. In short, she seems a saint. But it was time which taught her to disguise. She's thus because she can't be otherwise. So long as her attractions could enthrall, she flounced and flirted and enjoyed it all. But now that they're no longer what they were, she quits a world what fast is quitting her, and wears a veil of virtue to conceal a bankrupt beauty and lost appeal.
That sort of talk is what you like to hear. Therefore, you'd have us all keep still, my dear, while Madam rattles on the livelong day. Nevertheless, I mean to have my say. I tell you that you're blessed to have Tartuffe dwelling as my son's guest beneath this roof. That heaven has sent him to forestall its wrath by leading you once more. I heard that laugh, sir, and I saw that wink. Go find your silly friends and laugh some more. Enough, I'm going. Don't show me to the door. I leave this household much dismayed and vexed. I cannot say when I shall see you next. Wake up! Don't stand there gaping into space. I'll slap some sense into that stupid face. Move, move, you slut!
I think I'll stay behind. I want no further pieces of her mind. How that old lady...
Oh, what wouldn't she say if she could hear you speak of her that way? She'd thank you for the lady, but I'm sure she'd find the old a bit premature.
My, what a scene she made, and what a din! And how that man Tartuffe has taken her in!
Yes, but her son is even worse deceived. His folly must be seen to be believed. In the late troubles, he played an able part and served the government with a wise and loyal heart. But he's quite lost his senses since he fell beneath Tartuffe's infatuating spell. He calls him brother and loves him as his life, preferring him to mother, child, or wife. In him and him alone will he confide. He's made him his confessor and his guide. He pets and pampers him with love more tender than any pretty mistress could engender. Gives him the place of honour when they dine, and delights to see him gorging like a swine. Stuffs him with dainties till his guts distend, and when he belches cries, "Oh, God bless you, friend." Tartuffe, much pleased, to find so easy a victim as in 100 ways beguiled and tricked him, milked him of money, and with his permission, established here a sort of inquisition. Even Laurent, his lackey, dares to give us arrogant advice on how to live. He sermonizes us in thundering tones and confiscates our ribbons and cologne. Last week, he tore a kerchief into pieces because he found it pressed into a life of Jesus. He said it was soon to juxtapose unholy vanities and holy prose.
You did well not to follow. She stood in the door and said verbatim all she'd said before. Oh, I saw my husband coming. I think I'd best go upstairs now and take a little rest.
I'll wait and greet him here. Then I must go. I have really only time to say hello.
Sound him about my sister's wedding, please. I think Tartuffe's against it, and that he's been urging father to withdraw his blessing. As you well know, I'd find that most distressing. Unless my sister and Valère can marry, my hopes to wed his sister will miscarry, and I am determined.
The master has returned.
He's coming.
Brother, good day.
Well, welcome back. I'm sorry I can't stay. How is the country? Blooming, I trust, and green?
Excuse me, brother, just one moment. Doreen, to put my mind at rest, I always learn the household news the moment I return. Has all been well these last 2 days I've been gone? How's the family? What's been going on?
Your wife, 2 days ago, had a bad fever and a fierce headache which refused to leave her.
And Tartuffe?
Tartuffe, why, he's round and red, busting with health, and excellently fed.
Poor fellow.
That night, the mistress was unable to take a single bite at the dinner table. Her headache pain, she said, was simply hellish.
And Tartuffe?
He ate his meal with relish and zealously devoured in her presence a leg of mutton and a brace of pheasants.
Poor fellow.
Well, the pains continued strong, and so she tossed and tossed the whole night long. Now, icy cold and burning like a flame, we sat beside her bed till morning came.
And Tartuffe?
Why, having eaten, he rose and saw his room, already in a doze. He got into his warm bed and snored away in perfect peace until the break of dawn.
Poor fellow.
After much ado, we talked her into dispatching someone for the doctor. He bled her, and the fever quickly
And Tartuffe?
He bore it very well, to keep his cheerfulness at any cost and make up for the blood Madame had lost. He drank, at lunch, 4 beakers full of port.
Poor fellow.
Both are doing well, in short. I'll go and tell Madame that you've expressed keen sympathy and anxious interest.
That girl was laughing in your face. And though I've no wish to offend you, even so, I'm bound to say she had some excuse. How can you possibly be such a goose? Are you so dazed by this man's hocus pocus that all the world save him is out of focus? You've given him clothing, shelter, food, and care. Why must you also...
Oh, brother, stop right there. You do not know the man of whom you speak.
I grant you that. But my judgment's not so weak that I can't tell by his effect on others.
But when you meet him, you two will be like brothers. There's been no loftier soul since time began. He is a man who... Oh, that excellent man. To keep his precepts is to be reborn and view this dunghill of a world with scorn. Yes, thanks to him, I am a changed man indeed. Under his tutelage, my soul's been freed from earthly loves at every human tie. My mother, children, brother, and wife could die, and I'd not feel a single moment's pain.
Well, that's a fine sentiment, brother. Most humane.
Oh, had you seen Tartuffe as I first knew him, your heart, like mine, would have surrendered to him. He used to come into our church each day and humbly kneel nearby and start to pray. He'd draw the eyes of everybody there by the deep fervor of his heartfelt prayer. He'd sigh and weep, and sometimes with the sound of rapture, he would bend and kiss the ground. His serving man, no less devout than he, informed me of his master's poverty. I gave him gifts, but in his humbleness, he begged me every time to give him less. Oh, that's too much, he cried, too much by twice. I don't deserve it, the half cert would suffice. And when I wouldn't take it back, he'd share half of it with the poor, right then and there. At length, heaven prompted me to take him in to dwell with us and free our souls from sin. He guides our lives, and to protect my honor, stays by my wife and keeps an eye upon her. He tells me whom she sees and all she does, and seems more jealous than I ever was.
Good God, man, have you lost your common sense? Or is this all some joke at my expense? How can you stand there and in all sobriety?
Brother, your language savors of impiety. I've much free thinking's made your faith unsteady, and as I've warned you many times already, 'twill get you into trouble before you're through.
So I've been told before by dupes like you. Being blind, you'd have all others blind as well. The clear-eyed man you call an infidel. And he who sees through humbug and in pretense is charged by you with want of reverence. Spare me your warnings, brother. I have no fear of speaking out for you and heaven to hear against affected zeal and pious knavery. There's true and false in piety, as in bravery, and just as those whose courage shines the most in battle are least inclined to boast, so those whose hearts are truly pure and lowly don't make a flashy show of being holy. There's a vast difference, so it seems to me, between true piety and hypocrisy. Ah, brother, man's a strangely fashioned creature who seldom is content to follow nature, but recklessly pursues his inclination beyond the narrow bounds of moderation. And often, by transgressing reason's laws, perverts a lofty aim or a noble cause. A passing observation, but it applies.
I see, dear brother, you're profoundly wise. You harbor all the insight of the age. You are our one clear mind, our only sage.
Brother, I don't pretend to be a sage, nor have I all the wisdom of the age. There's just one insight I would dare to claim. I know that true and false are not the same. And just as there is nothing I more revere than a soul whose faith is steadfast and sincere, nothing that I more cherish and admire than honest zeal and true religious fire, so there is nothing that I find more base than specious piety's dishonest face.
Now then, dear brother, is your speech concluded?
Why, yes.
Your servant, sir.
No, brother, wait. There's one more matter. You agreed of late that young Moliére might have your daughter's hand.
I did.
And set the date, I understand?
Quite so.
You've now postponed it, is that true?
No doubt.
The match no longer pleases you?
Who knows?
Do you mean to go back on your word?
I won't say that.
Has Anything occurred which might entitle you to break your pledge?
Perhaps.
Why must you hem and haw and hedge? The boy asked me to sound you in this affair.
It's been a pleasure.
But what shall I tell Valère?
Well, whatever you like.
But what have you decided? What are your plans?
I plan, sir, to be guided by Evan's will.
Come, brother, don't talk rot. You've given Valère your word. Will you keep it or not?
Good day.
This looks like poor Valère's undoing. I'll go and warn him that there's trouble brewing.
Marianne,
Yes, Father.
a word with you. Come here.
What are you looking for?
Eavesdroppers, dear. I'm making sure we can't be overheard. Someone in there could catch our every word. Ah, good. We're safe. Now, Marianne, my child, you're a sweet girl who's tractable and mild, whom I hold dear and think most highly of.
I'm deeply grateful, Father, for your love.
That's well said, daughter, and you can repay me if in all things you cheerfully obey me.
To please you, sir, is what delights me best.
Good, good. Now, what do you think of Tartuffe, our guest?
Ooh. Aye, sir.
Yes, weigh your answer. Think it through.
Oh, dear. I'll say whatever you wish me to.
That's wisely said, my daughter. Say of him, then, that he's the most very worthiest of men, and that you're fond of him and would rejoice to being his wife, if that should be my choice. Well,
What?
what's that? Well,
Forgive me, pray.
did you not hear me?
Of whom, sir, must I say that I am fond of him and would rejoice in being his wife, if that should be your choice?
Why, of Tartuffe.
But, Father, that's false, you know. Why would you have me say what isn't so?
Because I am resolved that it shall be true, that it's my wish should be enough for you.
You can't mean, Father.
Yes, Tartuffe shall be allied by marriage to this family, and he's to be your husband. Is that clear? It's a father's privilege. What are you doing in here? Is curiosity so fierce a passion with you that you must eavesdrop in this fashion?
There's lately been a rumour going about based on some hunch or chance remark, no doubt, that you mean Marianne to wed Tartuffe. I've laughed it off, of course. It's just a spoof.
Find it so incredible.
Yes, I do. I won't accept that story even from you.
So you'll believe it when the thing is done.
Yes, of course. Go on, have your fun.
I've never been more serious in my life. Walter, I mean it. You're to be his wife.
Oh, don't believe your father. It's all a hoax.
Stay here, young woman.
Come, sir. No more jokes. You can't fool us.
How dare you talk that way?
All right, then. We believe you, sad to say, that our man like you, who looks so wise and wears a mustache of such splendid size, could be so foolish as to...
Oh, silence, please. My girl, you take too many liberties. I am master here. as you must not forget.
Let's discuss this calmly. Don't be upset. You can't be serious, sir, about this plan. What should that bigot want with Marianne? Praying and fasting not to keep him busy. And then in terms of wealth and rank, what is he? Why should a man of property like you pick out a beggar son-in-law?
That will do. Speak of his poverty with reverence. He is pure and saintly indigence, which far transcends all worldly pride and pelf. He lost his fortune, as he says himself, because he cared for heaven alone, and so was careless of his interests here below. I mean to get him out of his present straits and help him to recover his estates, which in his part of the world have no small fame. Poor though he is, he's a gentleman, just the same.
Yes, so he tells us, and sir, it seems to me such pride goes very ill with piety. But this approach, I see, has drawn a blank. Let's speak then of his person, not his rank. Doesn't it seem to you a trifle grim to give a girl like her to a man like him? When two are so ill-suited, can't you see what the sad consequence is bound to be? The young girl's virtue is imperiled, sir, when such a marriage is imposed on her. For if one's bridegroom isn't to one's taste, it's hardly an inducement to be chaste. Many a man with horns upon his brow has made his wife the thing that she is now. It's hard to be a faithful wife, in short, to certain husbands of a certain sort. A father who gives his daughter to a man she hates must answer for her sins at heaven's gates. Think, sir, before you play so risky a role.
This servant girl presumes to save my soul.
You would do well to ponder what I've said.
Father will disregard this dunderhead. Just trust your father's judgment, or I'm aware that I once promised you to young Valère. But now I hear he gambles, which greatly shocks me, and what's more, I've doubts about his orthodoxy. He visits the church, I note, are very few.
Would you have him go at the same hours as you and kneel nearby to be sure of being seen?
I can dispense with such remarks, Doreen. Tartuffe, however, is sure of heaven's blessing, and that's the only treasure worth possessing.
And she'll make him a cuckold. Just wait and see.
What language?
Oh, he's a man of destiny. He's made for horns, and what the stars demand your daughter's virtue surely can't withstand.
Don't interrupt me further. Why can't you learn that certain things are none of your concern?
It's for your own sake that I interfere.
Most kind of you. Now, hold your tongue, you hear?
If I didn't love you.
Oh, spare me your affection.
I love you, sir, in spite of your rejection.
Blast!
I can't bear it, sir, for your honour's sake, to let you make this ludicrous mistake.
You mean to go on talking?
If I didn't protest this sinful marriage, my conscience couldn't rest.
If you don't hold your tongue, you little shrew.
Lost your temper, a pious man like you.
Oh, yes, you talk and talk. I'm maddened by it. Once and for all, I tell you to be quiet.
Well, I'll be quiet. But I'll be thinking hard.
Think all you like, but you had better guard that saucy tongue of yours, or I'll... Now, child, I weighed this matter fully.
It drives me wild that I can't speak.
Tartuffe is no young dandy, but still his person.
He's as sweet as candy.
He is such that even if you shouldn't care for his other merits.
They'll make a lovely pair. If I were she, no man would marry me. against my inclination and go scot-free. He'd learn before the wedding day was over how readily a wife can find a lover.
It seems you treat my orders as a joke.
Why? What's the matter? 'Twas not to you I spoke.
What were you doing?
Talking to myself.
One more bit of impudence and gall, and I shall give you a good slap in the face. Daughter, you shall accept, and with good grace, the husband I've selected, your wedding day. Why don't you talk to yourself?
I've nothing to say.
Come on, just one word.
No, thank you, sir. I'll pass.
Come, speak. I'm waiting.
I'd not be such an ass.
In short, dear daughter, I mean to be obeyed, and you must bow to the sound choice I've made.
I'd not wed such a monster, even in jest.
Daughter, that maid of yours is a thorough pest. She makes me sinfully annoyed and nettled. I can't speak further. My nerves are too unsettled. She so upset me with her insolent talk. I'll calm myself. I'm going for a walk.
Well, have you lost your tongue, girl? Must I play your part and say the lines you ought to say, faced with a fate so hideous and absurd? Can you not utter one dissenting word?
What good would it do? A father's power is great.
Resist him now, or it'll be too late.
But there's...
Tell him one cannot love at father's whim, that you'll marry for yourself and not him. That since it's you who are to be the bride, it's you, not he, who must be satisfied. And that if his Tartuffe is so sublime, he's free to marry him any time.
I've bowed so long to father's strict control. I couldn't oppose him now to save my soul.
Come, Marianne, do listen to reason, won't you? Valère has asked for your hand. Do you love him or don't you?
How unjust of you! What can you mean by asking such a question, dear Doreen? You know the depth of my affection for him. I've told you 100 times how I adore him.
I don't believe everything I hear. Who knows if your professions were sincere?
They were, Doreen, and you do me wrong to doubt it. Heaven knows I've been all too frank about it.
You love him, then?
Oh, more than I can express.
And he, I take it, cares for you no less?
I think so.
And you both, with equal fire, burn to be married.
That is our one desire.
What of Tartuffe, then? What are your father's plan?
I'll kill myself if I'm forced to wed that man.
I hadn't thought of that recourse. Oh, how splendid. Just die and all your troubles will be ended. Oh, a fine solution. It pains me to hear you talk in that self-pitying key.
Doreen, how harsh you are. It's most unfair. You have no sympathy for my despair.
I've none at all for people who talk such drivel and faced with difficulties whine and snittle.
No doubt I'm timid, but it would be wrong to...
True love requires a heart that's firm and strong.
I'm strong in my affection for Valère. But coping with my father is his affair.
But if your father's brain has grown so cracked over his dear Tartuffe that he can retract his blessing, though your wedding day was named, it's surely not Valere who's to be blamed.
If I defied my father, as you suggest, would it not seem unmaidenly at best? Shall I defend my love at the expense of brazenness and disobedience? Shall I parade my heart's desires and flaunt?
No, I ask nothing of you. Clearly you want to be Mrs. Tartuffe, and I feel bound not to oppose a wish so very sound. What right have I to criticise the match? Indeed, my dear, the man is a brilliant catch. Mr. Tartuffe, now there's a man of weight. Yes, Mr. Tartuffe, I'm bound to state as quite a person that's not to be denied. 'Twill be no little thing to be his bride. The world already rings with his renown. He's a great noble in his native town. His ears are red. He has a pink complexion. And all in all, he'll suit you to perfection.
Dear God.
Oh, how triumphant you will feel at having caught a husband so ideal.
Do stop teasing and use your cleverness to get me out of this appalling mess. Advise me and I'll do whatever you say.
Ah, no, a dutiful daughter must obey her father, even if he weds her to an ape. You've a bright future. Why struggle to escape? Oh, your husband.
Oh, you turn my blood to ice. Stop torturing me and give me your advice.
Your servant, madame.
Doreen, I beg of you.
No, you deserve it. This marriage must go through.
Doreen.
No.
Not Tartuffe. You know I think him.
Tartuffe's your cup of tea, and you shall drink it.
I've always told you everything and relied.
No, you deserve to be Tartuffified.
Well, since you mock me and refuse to care, I'll henceforth seek my solace in despair. Despair shall be my counselor and friend, and help me bring my sorrows to an end.
There now, come back. My anger's subsided. You do deserve some pity, I've decided.
Doreen, if father makes me undergo this dreadful martyrdom, I'll die, I know.
Don't fret. It won't be difficult to discover some plan of action. But here's Valere, your lover.
Madame, I've just received some wondrous news regarding which I'd like to hear your views.
What news?
You're marrying Tartuffe?
I find that father does have such a match in mind.
Your father, madam?
Has just this minute said that it's Tartuffe he wishes me to wed.
Can he be serious?
Oh, indeed he can. He's clearly set his heart upon the plan.
And what position do you propose to take, madame?
Why, I don't know.
For heaven's sakes, you don't know.
No.
Well.
Advise me, do.
Marry the man. That's my advice to you.
That's your advice.
Yes.
Truly.
Oh, absolutely. You couldn't have chosen more wisely, more astutely.
Thanks for this counsel. I'll follow it, of course.
Do. I'm sure it will cost you no remorse.
To give it didn't cause your heart to break?
I gave it, madame, only for your sake.
And it's for your sake I take it, sir.
Let's see which fool will prove the stubborner.
So, I am nothing to you, and it was flat deception when you...
Please, enough of that. You've told me plainly that I should agree to wed the man that my father's chosen for me. And since you've deigned to counsel me so wisely, I promise, sir, to do as you advise.
Ah, no, 'twas not by me you were swayed. No, your decision was already made, though now to save appearances you protest that you're betraying me on my behest.
Just as you say.
Quite so, and now I see that you were never truly in love with me.
Alas, you're free to think so if you choose.
I choose to think so, and here's a bit of news. You've spurned my hand, but I know where to turn for kinder treatment, as you shall quickly learn.
I'm sure you do. Your noble qualities inspire affection.
Forget my qualities, please. They don't inspire you overmuch, I find. But there's another lady I have in mind, whose sweet and generous nature will not scorn to compensate me for the loss I've borne.
I'm no great loss, and I'm sure that you'll transfer your heart quite painlessly from me to her.
I'll do my best to take it in my stride, the pain I feel at being cast aside. Time and forgetfulness may put an end to, or if I can't forget, I shall pretend to. No self-respecting person is expected to go on loving once he's been rejected.
Now that's a fine, high-minded sentiment.
One to which any sane man would assent. Would you prefer if I pined away in hopeless passion till my dying day?
Go then. Console yourself. Don't hesitate. I wish you to. Indeed, I cannot wait.
You wish me to?
Yes.
That's the final straw, madame. Farewell. Your wish shall be my law.
Splendid.
This breach, remember, is of your making. It is you who've driven me to the step I'm taking.
Of course.
Remember, too, that I am merely following your example.
I see that clearly.
Enough. I'll go and do your bidding then.
Good.
You shall never see my face again.
Excellent.
Yes?
What?
What's that? What did you say?
Nothing. You're dreaming.
Ah, well, I'm on my way. Farewell, madame.
Farewell.
If you ask me, both of you are as mad as can be. Do stop this nonsense now. I've only let you squabble so long to see where it would get you. Whoa there, dearest Valere.
What's this, Doreen?
Come here.
No, no, my heart's too full of spleen. Don't hold me back. Her wish must be obeyed.
Stop.
It's too late now. My decision's been made.
Ah, pooh.
He hates the sight of me, that's plain. I'll go, and so deliver him from pain.
And now you run away. Come back.
No, no. Nothing you say will keep me here.
She cannot bear my presence, I perceive. To spare her further torment, I shall leave.
Again, you'll not escape, sir. Don't you try it. Come here, you two. Stop fussing and be quiet.
What do you want of me?
What is the point of this?
We're going to have a little armistice. Now, weren't you silly to get so overheated?
Didn't you see how badly I was treated?
Aren't you a simpleton to have lost your head?
Didn't you hear the hateful things he said?
Ah, you're both great fools. A sole desire, Valere, is to be yours in marriage. To that I'll swear. He loves you only, and he wants no wife but you, Marianne. On that I'll stake my life.
Then why you advised me so I cannot see.
On such a question, why ask advice of me?
Ah, you're impossible. Give me your hands, you two. Yours first.
But why?
And now, and from you.
What are you doing?
There. A perfect fit. You suit each other better than you'll admit.
Ah, come, don't be so haughty. Give a man a look of kindness, won't you, Marianne?
I tell you, lovers are completely mad.
Now come, confess that you were very bad, to hurt my feelings as you did just now. I have a just complaint, you must allow.
You must allow that you were most unpleasant.
Let's table that discussion for the present. Your father has a plan which must be stopped.
Advise us then. What means must we adopt?
We'll use all manner of means and all at once. Your father's addled. He's acting like a dunce. Therefore, you'd better humour the old fossil, pretend to yield him, be sweet and docile, and then postpone as often as necessary the day on which you have agreed to marry. You'll thus gain time, and time will turn the trick. Sometimes, for instance, you'll be taken sick, and that will seem good reason for delay. Or some bad omen will make you change the day. You'll dream of muddy water, or you'll pass a dead man's earth, or break a looking glass. If all else fails, no man can marry you unless you take his ring and say, I do. But now, let's separate. If they should find us here talking, our plot might be divined. Go to your friends and tell them what's occurred, and have them to urge your father to keep his word. Meanwhile, we'll stir brother into action and get Elmire as well to join our faction. Goodbye.
Though each of us will do his best, it is your true heart on which my hopes rest.
Regardless of what father may decide, none but Moliére shall claim me as his bride.
Oh, how those words content me, come what will.
Lovers, their tongues are never still. Be off now.
One last word.
No time to chat. You leave by this door. And you leave by that.
May lightning strike me, even as I speak. May all men call me cowardly and weak, if any fear or scruple holds me back from settling things at once with that great quack.
Now, don't give way to violent emotion. Your father's merely talked about his notion, and words and deeds are far from being one. Much that is talked about is left undone.
No, I must stop that scoundrel's machinations. I'll go and tell him off. I'm out of patience.
Do calm down and be practical. I'd rather my mistress dealt with him and with your father. She is some kind of influence with Tartuffe, I've noted. He hangs on her word, seems most devoted, and may indeed be smitten by her charm. Pray heaven it's true, to do our cause no harm. She sent for him just now to sound him out on this affair you're so incensed about. She'll find out where he stands and tell him too. What dreadful strife and trouble will ensue if he lends countenance to your father's plan. I couldn't get in to see him, but his man says that he's almost finished with his prayers. No, now I'll catch him when he comes downstairs.
Oh, I want to hear this conference, and I will.
No, they must be alone.
Oh, I'll keep still.
Not you. I know your temper. You'd start a brawl and shout and stamp your feet and spoil it all. Go on.
I won't. I have a perfect
Oh,
right.
Lord, you're a nuisance. He's coming. Get out of sight.
Hang up my hair shirt, put my scourge in place, and pray Laurent for heaven's perpetual grace.
I'm going to the prison now to share my last few coins with the poor wretches there.
Dear God, what affectation, what a fake.
You wished to see me?
Yes.
For mercy's sake, please take this handkerchief before you speak.
What?
Cover that bosom, girl. The flesh is weak, and unclean thoughts are difficult to control. Such sights as that can undermine the soul.
Your soul, it seems, has very poor defences, and flesh makes quite an impact on your senses. It's strange that you're so easily excited. My own desires are not so soon ignited. And if I saw you naked as a beast, not all your hide would tempt me in the least.
Girl, speak more modestly. Unless you do, I shall be forced to take my leave of you.
Oh no, it's I who must be on my way. I've just one little message to convey. Madame is coming down and begs you, sir, to wait and have a word or two with her.
Gladly.
That had a softening effect. I think my guess about him was correct.
Will she be long?
No. That's a step I hear. And here she is. I shall disappear.
May heaven, whose infinite goodness we adore, preserve your body and soul forevermore, and bless your days, and answer thus the plea of one who is its humblest votary.
Thank you for that pious wish. But please do take a chair and let's be more at ease.
I trust that you are once more well and strong.
Oh yes, the fever didn't last for long.
My prayers are too unworthy, I am sure, to have gained from heaven this most gracious cure. But lately, madame, my every supplication has had for object your recuperation.
You shouldn't have troubled so. I don't deserve it.
Your health is priceless, madame, and to preserve it, I'd gladly give my own in all sincerity.
Sir, you outdo us all in Christian charity. You've been most kind. I count myself your debtor.
'Twas nothing, madam. I long to serve you better.
There's a private matter I am anxious to discuss. I'm glad there's no one here to hinder us.
Indeed, there's nothing I had rather do than bare my inmost heart and soul to you. First, let me say that what remarks I've made about the constant visits you are paid were prompted not by any mean emotion, but rather by a pure and deep devotion, a fervent zeal.
No need for explanation. Your sole concern, I'm sure, was my salvation. Oh.
Quite so. And such great fervor do I feel.
Oh, please, you're pinching.
'Twas from excessive zeal. I never meant to cause you pain. I swear I'd rather.
What can your hand be doing there?
Feeling your gown. What soft, fine woven stuff.
Please, I'm extremely ticklish.
My, what lovely lacework on your dress. The workmanship's miraculous, no less. I've not seen anything to equal it.
Yes, quite. But let's talk business a bit. They say my husband means to break his word and give his daughter to you. Sir, had you heard?
He did once mention it, but I confess, I dream of a quite different happiness. It's elsewhere, madame, that my eyes discern the promise of that bliss for which I yearn.
I see. You care for nothing here below.
Oh, well, my heart's not made of stone, you know.
All your desires melt heavenward, I'm sure, in scorn of all that's earthly and impure.
A love of heavenly beauty does not preclude a proper love of earthly pulchritude. Our senses are quite rightly captivated by perfect works our Maker has created. Some glory clings to all that heaven has made. In you, all heaven's marvels are displayed. On that fair face, such beauties have been lavished. The eyes are dazzled and the heart is ravished. How could I look on you, oh flawless creature, and not adore the author of all nature? Feeling a love both passionate and pure, for you his triumph of self-portraiture? It is, I know, presumptuous on my part to bring you this poor offering of my heart, and it is not my merit, heaven knows, but your compassion on which my hopes repose. You are my peace, my solace, my salvation. On you depends my bliss or desolation. I bide your judgment, and as you think best, I shall be either miserable or blessed.
Your declaration is most gallant, sir. But don't you think it's out of character? You'd have done better to restrain your passion and think before you spoke in such a fashion. It ill becomes a pious man like you.
I may be pious, but I am human too. With your celestial charms before his eyes, a man has not the power to be wise. I know such words sound strangely coming from me, but I'm no angel, nor was meant to be. And if you blame my passion, you must needs reproach as well the charms on which it feeds. Your loveliness I had no sooner seen than you became my soul's unrivaled queen. If, in compassion for my soul's distress, you'll stoop to comfort my unworthiness, I'll raise to you in thanks for that sweet manna and endless hymn, an infinite hosanna. With me, of course, there is no anxiety, no fear of scandal or notoriety. These young court gallants, whom all the ladies fancy, are vain in speech, in action, and chancy. When they succeed in love, the world soon knows it. No favors granted them, but they disclose it, and by the looseness of their tongues profane the very altar where their hearts have lain. Men of my sort, however, love discreetly, and one may trust our reticence completely. My keen concern for my good name ensures the absolute security of yours. In short, I offer you, my dear Amir, love without scandal, pleasure without fear.
I've heard your well-turned speeches to the end, and what you urge I clearly apprehend. Aren't you afraid that I may take a notion to tell my husband of your warm devotion? And that, supposing he were duly told, his feelings toward you might grow rather cold.
I know, dear lady, that your exceeding charity will lead your heart to pardon my temerity. That you'll excuse my violent affection as human weakness, human imperfection, and that, O fairest, you will bear in mind that I'm but flesh and blood, and am not blind.
Some women might do otherwise, perhaps, but I shall be discreet about your lapse. I'll tell my husband nothing of what's occurred if, in return, you'll give your solemn word to advocate as forcefully as you can the marriage of Valère and Marianne, renouncing all desire to dispossess another of his rightful happiness. And
No, we'll not hush up this vile affair. I heard it all inside that closet there, where heaven, in order to confound the pride of this great rascal, prompted me to hide. And now I have my long-awaited chance to punish his deceit and arrogance and give my father clear and shocking proof of that black character of his dear Tartuffe.
oh, I know, Damis. I'll be content if he will study to deserve my leniency. I promise silence. Don't make me break my word. To make a scandal would be too absurd. Good wives laugh off such trifles and forget them. Why should they tell their husbands and upset them?
Oh, you have your reason for taking such a course, and I have reasons too, of equal force. To spare him now would be insanely wrong. I've swallowed my just wrath for far too long, and watched this insolent bigot bringing strife and bitterness into our family life. Too long he's meddled in my father's affairs, thwarting my marriage hopes. And poor Valère's. It's high time that my father was undeceived, and now I have proof that can't be disbelieved. Proof that was furnished me by heaven above. It's too good not to take advantage of. This is my chance, and I deserve to lose it if for one moment I hesitate to use it.
Damis.
No, I must do what I think right, madam. My heart is bursting with delight. And say whatever you will, I'll not consent to lose the sweet revenge on which I'm bent. I'll settle matters without more ado, and here most opportunely is my cue. Father, I'm glad you've joined us. Let us advise you of some fresh news which doubtless will surprise you. You've just now been repaid with interest for all your loving kindness to our guest. He's proved his warm and grateful feelings towards you. It's with a pair of horns he would reward you. Yes, I surprised him with your wife and heard his whole adulterous offer. Every word. She, with her all too gentle disposition, would not have told you of his proposition. But I shall not make terms with brazen lechery, and feel that not to tell you would be treachery.
And I hold that one's husband's peace of mind should not be spoilt by tattle of this kind. These are my sentiments, and I wish, Demis, that you had heeded me and held your peace.
Can it be true, this dreadful thing I hear?
Yes, brother, I am a wicked man, I fear. A wretched sinner, all depraved and twisted, the greatest villain that has ever existed. My life's one heap of crimes which grows each minute. There's naught but foulness and corruption in it. And perceive that heaven, outraged by me, has chosen this occasion to mortify me. Charge me with any deed you wish to name. I'll not defend myself, but take the blame. Believe what you are told, and drive Tartuffe like some base criminal from beneath your roof. Yes, drive me hence, and with a parting curse, I shan't protest, for I deserve far worse.
Oh, you deceitful boy! How dare you try to stain his purity with so foul a lie?
What? Are you so taken in by this bluff? Did you not hear?
Enough, you rogue, enough!
Oh, brother, let him speak. You're being unjust. Believe his story. The boy deserves your trust. Why, after all, should you have faith in me? How can you know what I might do or be? Is it on my good actions that you base your favor? Do you trust my pious face? Ah, no. Don't be deceived by hollow shows. I'm far, alas, from being what men suppose. Though the world takes me for a man of worth, I'm truly the most worthless man on earth. Yes, my dear son, speak out now. Call me the chief of sinners, a wretch, a murderer, a thief. Load me with all the names men most abhor. I'll not complain. I've earned them all and more. I'll kneel here while you pour them on my head as a just punishment for the life I've led.
This is too much, dear brother. Have you no heart?
Are you so hoodwinked by this
Be
rascal's art?
still, you monster. Brother, I pray you, rise. Villain!
But father,
Silence!
can't you realize?
Oh, just one word more and I'll tear you limb from limb.
In God's name, brother, don't be harsh with him. I'd rather far be tortured at the stake than see him bear one scratch for my poor sake.
Ingrate!
If I must beg you on bended knee to pardon him,
Such goodness cannot be. Now, there's true charity.
What? You?
Villain, be still. I know your motives. I know you wish him ill. Yes, all of you, wife, children, servants, all conspire against him, and I desire his fall, employing every shameful trick you can to alienate me from this saintly man. But the more you seek to drive him away, the more I'll do to keep him. Without delay, I'll spite this household and confound its pride by giving him my daughter as his bride.
You're going to force her to accept his hand?
Yes, and this very night, do you understand? I shall defy you all and make it clear that I'm the one who gives the orders here. Come, wretch, kneel down and clasp his blessed feet and ask his pardon for your black deceit.
I ask that swindler's pardon? Why, I'd rather...
So, you insult him and defy your father. A stick! A stick! Oh, no, release me too. Out of my house this minute, be off with you and never dare set foot in it again.
Well, I shall go.
Well, go quickly, then I disinherit you, and empty purse is all you'll get from me, except my curse. Oh, he blasphemed your good name. What a son.
forgive him, Lord, as I've already done. You can't know how it hurts when someone tries to blacken me in my dear brother's eyes.
Oh,
The mere thought of such ingratitude plunges my soul into so dark a mood. Such horror grips my heart. I gasp for breath and cannot speak. And feel myself near death.
you blackguard, why did I spare you? Why did I not break you into little pieces on the spot? Compose yourself and don't be hurt, dear friend.
Oh, these scenes, these dreadful quarrels have got to end. I've much upset your household, and I perceive that the best thing will be for me to leave.
What are you saying?
They're all against me here. They'd have you think me false and insincere.
What is that? Have I ceased believing in you?
Their adverse talk will certainly continue, and charges which you now repudiate, you may find credible at a later date.
Oh, no, brother, never.
Brother, a wife can sway her husband's mind in many a subtle way.
No, no.
To leave at once is the solution. Thus only can I end their persecution.
No, no. I'll not allow it. You shall remain.
Ah, well, 'twill mean much martyrdom and pain. But if you wish it, enough, so be it. But one thing must be settled, as I see it. For your dear honor and for our friendship's sake, there's one precaution I feel bound to take. I shall avoid your wife and keep away.
No, you shall not, whatever they may say. It pleases me to vex them, and for spite, I'd have them see you with her day and night. What's more, I'm going to drive them to despair by making you my only son and heir. This very day, I'll give to you alone clear deed and title to everything I own. A dear, good friend and son-in-law to be as more than wife or child or kin to me. Will you accept my offer, dearest son?
In all things, let the will of heaven be done.
Poor fellow, come, we'll go drop the deed, then let them burst with disappointed greed.